Hey, how y'all doing? Splash Driver here. I have a quick question. Did you guys ever run into issues with store employees? And I'm talking about like you guys that do maybe Shipped or Instacart. Do you guys maybe run into issues with nosy sales associates or clerks or grocery store workers? I find that to be very challenging sometimes because I've noticed that I have come across a lot of times where I'm running into cashiers or grocery store workers that seem to be a little bit too nosy or prying. Now, there's nothing wrong with asking basic questions, but what I'm talking about is they're wanting to get too like deep into your personal business. Like, for instance, if they assume that you shop for Instacart or was shipped, I mean, there's nothing wrong with them asking. They're probably just doing their job, but I'm talking about ones that just want to know too much. And at least in my opinion, like, I could be wrong, but at least in my opinion, I just kind of feel like everything is not their business. Like, if you're in there shopping, you're just in there shopping, whether you're doing Instacart or Shipped or whoever. You see what I'm saying? And so the only time that I think that they do need to know if you're with Shipped is if you are shopping for a customer, only because Shipped, they use a tax exempt code, and I understand that. But I have come across several situations with grocery store employees that want to know too much. Like, for instance, today I did a batch, and I was in a particular grocery store, and you know how with Instacart we have to scan the items and put them in a cart, et cetera, et cetera. Well, I went over to this one section of the store, and as I was scanning some items, this woman, a grocery store worker, came up to me. She's really nice and sweet. Don't get me wrong, she's really sweet. But she said, "Excuse me, ma'am, I have a question." I said yes, and she goes, "I just noticed that you were walking around the store scanning items, and I was just wondering, is that for like calorie counting, or is that some type of an app that you count calories or something like that?" And so I said, "No, it's not." She goes, "Okay, oh," and so she was like, "Okay, so are you getting it for somebody or whatever?" I said, "I'm actually shopping for someone." And I didn't tell her I was shopping for Instacart or Shipped. I didn't say any of that, but I said, "Well, I'm shopping for someone." Okay, because I was just wondering, because I noticed that you were around the store scanning items, and I was just trying to figure out if it was for counting calories or if it was just for, certain products or something that you're trying to, something about calories and lose weight or something. And maybe she did want to know, but I said, "No, I'm just shopping for someone." I didn't go into detail about if it's for Instacart or whatever, because that's really none of her business. I mean, I hope you guys understand. I hope you guys understand like what I'm saying. And so I wasn't offended too much, but I just felt like it was none of her business. And so, there are apps out there where you can scan groceries to see if they're gluten-free, if they're vegan, how much they cost, maybe even comparison shop. I mean, there's so many apps out there you can take to the grocery store with you. However, I just kind of felt like she was that was bold. You see what I'm saying? So, I mean, she might have really wanted to know, am I using an app that maybe she wanted to use or something like that? But you know what I'm saying? It's just, that was none of her business. You see what I mean? And so, like, it was like about a week and a half ago, I went to another store. This is a different store. And as I was checking out, I don't know why this guy he's young. He's like a young guy, but I don't know what it is. But as I was checking out, I was doing an Instacart order. And this is why I'm always incognito. Like, they typically don't know. I mean, most of the people know who I am because I'm in this certain stores all the time. But in this one particular case, I mean, I never had any issues with this young man. He was young, probably like between like 18 and maybe 20, really young. And as I was checking out, he said something like, but see, he was a bagger. He wasn't cashiering at the time. It was another girl, and he was like, "Oh, so who's this for?" And I'm looking at him like, "Excuse me?" And so he was like, "Well, is this an Instacart order, or are you shopping for yourself?" And so I said, "Why?" He goes, "Well, I'm just wondering." Because the items that I think I had two separate batches that I was doing, with two separate customers. And so I think the first order was in paper and the second was in plastic or something like that. And sometimes people do request paper. And so I was like, "Why do you ask?" And he's like, "Well, because, I mean, you don't have just a few items here just for a double for a double bag of paper." And I'm looking at him like, I cannot believe he said that. So basically, it was like, okay, first of all, why is he even in my business? Second of all, it's none of his business if I want paper or plastic, or whether it's double or single paper, And so I think he was just asking me just to be facetious. But I said, well, okay, And so he said something else, but I ignored what he said because you guys know we have to be very careful how we respond to these sales associates. You see what I'm saying? And so but I get that sometimes where they ask me, oh, okay, is this for yourself or is this for a customer? And sometimes I ain't gonna lie, I'm like, why? And I've asked that, well, why? And they're like, oh, I'm just wondering. Because most of these people see me there all the time. So, and then again, you got some people that just want to start conversation just to talk. It's really no big deal, and that's okay. But they want to know too much. You feel what I'm saying? And so if I want to, and even if I am shopping for somebody, and if I want to get like a candy bar or something, I mean, I don't eat candy bars anymore, but or if I want to get like maybe a bottle of water or something, that's my business. You see what I'm saying? I'm paying my own money. You feel me? And so I think some of these associates want to know too much. And sometimes they follow you around. Like I get followed around sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes, you just got some sales associates that just want to be petty. And so I guess maybe you guys have dealt with this. I don't know, but they ask too many questions. And so, last week I was, at a Whole Foods. Yes, at Whole Foods. And so I was, walking around and, trying to find an item or something. I was trying to find something. And then one of the girls, now she's cool. Like her and I are cool, but I don't know what got into her, but she just out of nowhere, she just turned around and she had this look on her face. It was like, she looked like the Grinch, this really creepy looking smile. And so she said, I've been seeing a lot of Instacart shoppers in here. And she said, it's way too many in here. I just been seeing way too many shoppers in here. And she had this smile on her face. It's the way she said it. And so I said, okay. Why she said that? She just said like out the blue. And so I said, all right. And my thing is, that's none of her business. What difference does it make if there's 50 Instacart shoppers in there? What if there's 10 or 5, whatever? None of her business. You see what I'm saying? However, Instacart, I don't know why, they just don't protect us when it comes to pettiness with some of these sales associates. At least for now they don't. But I'm just trying to see like how you guys do dealing with sales associates, because I know that I'm not the only one that goes through stuff. I know I'm not the only one that deals with some people. Everybody's not like that. I only have like maybe a handful of bad apples. You always got those handful that just like to be petty like that. And when I see that they're doing it intentionally, because you got some people that are just ignorant. And when I say ignorant, I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just talking about some people just don't know no better. You see what I'm saying? And then you got some people that are doing stuff intentionally. When I see that people are doing stuff intentionally, I'm very cautious of that. So I'm careful in my response. And usually I ignore them, or I don't say anything, or I'll just, or like I'll just give my like a really quick response. You see what I'm saying? Because the manager here, our district manager, Instacart, says that we have to watch our body language. So I'm very low key and stuff like that. And so at the same time, you guys, I just want your feedback. What do you do? What situations have you gone through dealing with sales associates in these grocery stores? Have you had any incidents? Do they ask you personal questions? Like, are they in your business? Do you feel like they want to know too much? Give me your feedback and let me know.